Crafting is fun. Farming? Kinda therapeutic. PvE? Yeah, kinda works. Dancing naked in the market while begging for silver? Peak content. But nothing, and I say nothing, beats the Jet 2 holiday. Nothing beats PvP. PvP is the very essence of MMORPGs. It's what makes players go full horny mode. And today, I'm gonna teach you how to do it right in Albion Online. If you're a beginner, I guarantee your PvP skills will go up. If you've been playing for a while but still suck, don't worry, that might end now. And if you're a top tier PvP player, I don't know why you're here, but I hope you will learn something. So, before we begin, if you find this guide helpful, click that like, subscribe if you haven't, and comment your thoughts down below. Albion Online offers a wide range of PvP experiences. You've got the non-lethal PvP, also known as the baby PvP, or the cowards PvP, where you fight but you keep your gear. These are commonly found in the yellow zones. Next, we have the newly addition, the semi-lethal PvP, in which you will drop your loot, but you will keep your gear. And of course, the best of all, the full lethal PvP, where if you die, you lose everything you're wearing. Period. No exemption. You could say please no. On top of that, it also further divided into solo, duo, trio, group, or a zerg. In this guide, I'll be focusing mainly on solo PvP, especially in the black zones, where fights are lethal, high stakes, and unforgiving. But make no mistake, many of the principles I'll be teaching you can be applied to any kind of PvP. Whether you're roaming in mists, diving in corrupted dungeons, rolling in group fights, or just being a coward in yellow zones. Good fundamentals win fights. PvP isn't as hard as you think. It only feels hard because you're ignoring some core fundamentals. In this video, I'll break everything down into clear categories. These are the things that I wish someone told me when I started playing. So these categories are mindset to adapt, skill to improve, tips and tricks that actually works. Fair warning, if you don't actually try to improve these areas, you will continue to suck. That's not on me, that's on you. So let's get into it. In order to be great at PvP, you need to shift your mindset. You need to accept the fact that you will die. Get over it. In Albion Online and in life, you will die. But in Albion, you will die a lot. Until you either stop caring or you uninstall the game. That's the secret most new players miss. Dying is normal. It's part of the process. Black zone deaths, they're inevitable. Even the top players, Won, Pew Pew, Beast, Equart, Coco, and etc. They've died more times than you've lagged in. So what separates them from the rest? They hit that home button and go again, die again. No rage, no fear, no ego, but they tilt sometimes though. Accepting death as part of the game changes everything. You stop playing scared. You start playing smart. It's not avoiding death. It's about what you do after it. It's feedback. Take every death as a learning opportunity. Another mindset shift that you should apply is that accepting the fact that your gear is consumable. Period. No buts, no ifs. Everything you wear in the black zone is consumable. Yes, even the shiny 8.4 excellent or masterpiece that's worth 200 million set you're flexing that you got from swiping or saving up for months, it's just a glorified potion. Another loot. If you keep using it, you will lose it. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but one day, one bad engage, one good enemy, and boom, payday for them, cry for you. The difference between tier 4 and 8.4 isn't that one is disposable and the other isn't. It's just that 8.4 lets you stomp more noobs before someone skilled pulverizes you. So here's the mindset shift. Don't wear gear to keep it. Wear gear to profit from it. The goal isn't survival, it's return on investment. Always wear what you can afford to lose. You shouldn't wear expensive gear just to play scared. It is better to wear a cheaper build and fight with no fear. Be that little Wolverine or Honey Badger. Use it, win with it, make bank, and then when you lose it, cool, you got your value. That's how you break gear fear and start fighting without limits. I'm not saying you shouldn't use high tier. I'm just saying you shouldn't use high tier if you still have gear fear, because that's 100% sure a bad investment. Now let's move on to the skills that you should work on in order to improve your PvP. First is game knowledge. This is the most overlooked but the most important part of PvP. Yeah, if you play a lot, you'll naturally pick up game knowledge, but here's the thing. Passive learning isn't enough. Real improvement comes when you seek it on purpose. I sound philosophical. You don't need to memorize every weapon, armor, or passive in the game, but what you need to know is that what your own build does, what common enemies run, especially a certain content you're playing, what counters what, and how to respond when you see it. Sure, you could read ability descriptions, but the only real way to build game knowledge is to actually play the freaking game. Simple as that. Wanna be good at mists? Play mists. Wanna be good at corrupted dungeon? Play corrupted dungeon. Wanna be good at black zone open world? Play black zone open world. Wanna be good at PvP? Play the game. You will die. That's okay, because every death teaches you something. You learn what worked, what didn't. You recognize animations, cooldowns, movements, new techniques, new build. And here's the beautiful part. The more you PvP, the more transferable your knowledge is. Corrupted dungeons and mists may be different, but your understanding of weapon matchups, that applies everywhere. Know your build, know its weaknesses, know your enemy's tools. Do that and you'll win fights before they even started. They say ignorance is bliss, but here, ignorance is expensive. If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not to fear the results of 100 battles. That is Sun Tzu. Next is you need to learn how to bait and kite. Albion Online at its core is simple. It's a cooldown based game. If your cooldowns are up and theirs aren't, you win. That's why kiting and baiting are non-negotiable PvP skills. Baiting is about forcing your enemies to waste their abilities. You make them panic, make them blow their defensives early. Once their big skill is on cooldown, that's your go signal to go in and punish them. So how do you actually bait someone? Simple. You use your abilities to make them use theirs. You fake pressure. You act like you're committing. You throw a cooldown or force a reaction, then you back off. That's it. For example, what I do with my dagger is that I need to bait their sprint. In order to do that, I use my combo. And then afterwards, they will sprint. And yeah, so after I know that my combo will be on cooldown and they won't have their sprint. So that's why I could execute my combo and they won't have sprint. I only have to purge their defensives as well. So that's it. So basically, you bait the most annoying skill they have and then you execute your combo. Kiting is about buying time. So when you bait, you use your cooldowns, right? And since you're counting your cooldowns, you cannot fight if you have your cooldowns. So it's time for your own cooldowns to come back up. You create space, avoid damage, and reset the fights on your terms. This is the most important part in Albion Online. Every single fight, you should always fight in an advantage or in the favor of you. And that's, I know, that's pretty basic, that's pretty cowardly, it sounds like that. But you need to be in an advantage if you actually want to win. So if you're in a disadvantage, just kite and reset the fight and fight it on your own terms. So when you're PvPing, don't just spam buttons. Keep track of your cooldowns, their cooldowns, what's been used, what ability has been used, what's still a threat or what's ability haven't been used yet. Because the truth is, the player who kites better and baits smarter will win 9 out of 10 fights, and that one fight that you lose is against someone who is better than you. PvP isn't just about damage, it's about timing. If you run in and blow your whole kit while your opponent still has defenses, you will have additional S lines because you're fucked. You lose. But if you bait their E, kite their burst, and go in when they're exposed, you win. And you look clean doing it as well. Next, you need to learn how to use your skills and potions wisely. If you use all your skills at the start without thinking, you're already dead. You need to strategize every button press, every skill, every potion, every sprint. They're all resources, and if you waste them, you're dead. So, this is where it comes in handy, the game knowledge. The more you play, the more you will know until it will become second nature to you. So when should you use what? Defensives. Use them when you're brawling or when the enemy pops their burst. Don't panic pop it. Time it. Sprint. Use it to escape, to reposition, or to chase and secure a kill. Using it randomly is bad idea. It will equal to no escape, then you're gonna die. Yeah. Potions. Use it when you need to use it. Resistant potions, gig potions, pre-burst or mid-fight to tank damage. Healing potion between trades or during a kite. Poison potions as an opener or to finish off an enemy. So those are the fundamental skills that you should work on in order to improve your PvP experience in Albion Online. Let's move on to the tips. Tip number 1, master one weapon. In Albion Online, every weapon is unique, and there are a ton of weapons out there. Sure, they share core mechanics, but the playstyle, timing, and matchups changes depending on the weapon that you play and the set that you are playing with it. It may sound tempting to change weapons or build every single time, but if that's what you want, then sure, by all means, you can play that way. It's a sandbox MMORPG. You are what you wear. But if you want to get good at PvP, you need to lock in one weapon and master it first. Here's why that matters. First, you build your muscle memory. Your fingers respond before your brain does. You feel your cooldowns. You familiarize your skill. Next is that you stop wasting time adjusting to new builds. No more awkward fights trying to figure out which ability does what. You just play. You start understanding matchups. You'll recognize that you're up against an opponent that you can counter or you cannot counter even before the fight begins. And most importantly, you build confidence. Confidence wins fight. If you believe in your weapon, you fight smarter. You fight more confidently. You are not afraid. You take better trades. You actually win your fights and not suck and lose all your gear. Mastering one weapon turns you from a walking loot into a walking threat. And when that weapon becomes second nature, it becomes your moneymaker, your comfort zone, your fallback set. Does this mean you can't play other weapons? Nope, you can still play other weapons, but mastering that one weapon gives you something every PvP player needs, a solid foundation. And from there, you can start to expand, swap, and eventually dominate. Now, how do you choose which weapon to master? Simple tip. Look up current meta builds or test a bunch of weapons until one just clicks. Or you can check out my weapon review in which I review weapons. And you might able to find your one and only weapon out there. Because here's the truth. It's not the weapon that makes a player dangerous. It's the player that makes the weapon dangerous. Even Excalibur is useless if you don't have arms. Remember that. Trash build doesn't matter. If you've mastered it, you kill people who outgear you. Why? Because you know, and you know it better than your opponent does. Tip number 2, spec up your equipments. Now that you've chosen your main equipment, next step is to spec it up. Why? Because spec is equals to more item power. And in PvP, item power is equals to advantage. Tier 5 full spec can match a tier 7 with no spec. That means cheaper gear, same item power, more wins. Don't just spec your main weapon. After you reach 100 to your main weapon, start leveling your other weapons in the same weapon tree. For example, if you reach 100 in your dagger, then you should start leveling Bloodletter or Death Givers. This also applies in your equipment. It boosts your overall IP, which means even on budget builds, you are deadly. Example, my tier 7 dagger can hit up to 1400 item power. It is the same as a 6.3 without spec dagger, but way cheaper, 3 times cheaper. So bottom line, more spec equals more item power is equals more power is equals more wins and profits. Spec is the silent carry that turns budget gear into a PvP threat. Who writes the scripts? Tip number 3, inspect your enemy. Seriously, do it. Before the fight even begins, you already have a powerful tool in your arsenal, the inspect button. You cannot imagine how many times this saved me, and how many times the people who hasn't used this died. I have fought a lot of 4 flat players or low tier players just attacking me immediately as they see me without even inspecting, even though I was higher tier. And that's why they're dead. So press your inspect button. Don't just let it, rot in there. I think the default button is why. It only takes a few seconds but gives you a ton of free information. What you should look for is the item power. Is the item gap too far? The general rule of thumb is you should fight at least people. The limit is 200 IP above you. Anything beyond that is hard to win. You should also look for the equipment and the skills that they have. Is it a good matchup or a bad matchup? The potion and food is something that you should also consider as well. The best players aren't just fast, they are informed. Every single fight is a fight of information. So if you have more information, you win. They know what you have, how to deal with you even before the fight starts. So be like them. Get the intel, inspect the build, adapt your approach. Tip number 4, create a plan. If you followed tip number 3, you will know what they're running because you inspected them. And if you didn't, then you should go back and follow tip number 3. Now that you know what they're running, you can play smarter. You can counter the combos, avoid bad trades, you could time your cooldowns, disengage if it's a lost fight, punish them if you know you've got the upper hand. You're not just pressing buttons now, you're making decisions like a big boy. Every fight in Albion should start with a plan. It shouldn't be complicated actually. Just something like this. If he engages first, I should do this. I'll bait his cooldown, then I punish. If he burns defensives early, I'll commit. If I land my E, it's all in. Having plan means you're not reacting blindly, you're controlling the tempo of the fight. The difference between a noob and a good player, the noob reacts, the good player plans. When you know what to use and when to use it, your fights become surgical. You'll win against people who outgear you because you played smarter. You will show your precision, your grace in PvP, and they will be able to whisper you. You will be receiving whisper saying that you suck, you're a cheater, that you're something bad. And then it will be the greatest compliment you'll hear in the game. Trust me. Tip number 5. Know when to fight and when to walk away. Once you've built up enough game knowledge, you'll start to quickly recognize what build your enemy is running, whether it's a favorable matchup, if the fight is actually worth taking. Some matchups are just brutal, man. No matter how good you are, if the counter is too hard, you're basically just giving free silver. That's why one of the most underrated PvP skill is knowing when to say, nope, I'm out of here. So before you engage, ask yourself, is it winnable? What's your winning condition? What's your losing condition? IP check, is your item power above theirs? Build matchup as well. Do you counter them? Do they counter you? Gap assessment. Even with higher IP, a bad matchup is still fatal. And return on investment. Have I already made enough silver that even if I die I still made a profit? Will I die a happy man or woman? Because at the end of the day, winning is not always equal to killing. Sometimes winning means not dying. Sometimes winning is going home, keeping your gear. Because let's be real, you can't lose if you don't fight. I know and I understand that PvP in Albion Online can feel overwhelming at first, but once you don't give up and you lock in the fundamentals, you work on the skills that I've mentioned, follow the tips that I've said, everything else will start to click naturally. You don't need to know everything to get started, but you do need to start. So pick up a weapon, die a few dozen times, learn from each fight, and keep coming back. Because at the end of the day, every great PvP player was once a noob like you. To help summarize the video and help you remember how to PvP effectively, I made a simple acronym, FUCK. F, find out what your enemy is using, inspect them. U, understand the matchup. C, create a plan. K, know when to fight and when to run. So always remember, before you engage into any fight, don't forget to fuck. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you find this helpful, click that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and comment down below what are your thoughts about this video. Thank you so much, and I'll see you into the next one.